2-week routine check. We do this every 2 weeks, and this is our first one, so this is 2 weeks after our package installation, so the bees are brand new to the hive, right? So what our goal for today is to open up, look at the frames. We don't have to look at all the frames, but our goal is to find the queen, see if she's laying eggs, and see if there's larvae, and see if they're storing pollen or honey and stuff like that, and see if they've drawn out comb. Now I know they're doing pretty well because they've drank probably a gallon of sugar water in 2 weeks, actually in less than 2 weeks, and I took that off a couple days ago, and so I know they're doing well. That I'm expecting to see drawn out comb. I'm expecting to find the queen, and I'm expecting to find some eggs. Maybe not larvae, but eggs. So that's the things I'm looking for: queen, drawn out comb, and eggs. And I'll show you I'll show you what those look like, just so you can see how those look. So for this, you're gonna need your hive tool and the smoker, obviously. So we're gonna smoke the entrance a little bit. So the entrance down here. So just put some smoke down there. Just like that. Alright, so now I'm gonna take off the top lid, and bees aren't gonna really come out much. Put the lid right here, right in front of me. So, Dad, if you could put some smoke up here too. So we're also gonna put some smoke up on the top entrance as well, to calm them down. All the, see, look, this is already propolized, see? Mm-hmm. It's glued. All right, so now is when we're gonna crack it open. So they have put wax in between the box and the lid, and so it's gonna be glued together. So that's what your hive tool is for. You're gonna get down in between, and you're gonna hear a crack. See, hear that? You're not breaking anything, you're just breaking the seal of the wax, is what you're doing. Am I lifting up a flame? Yes, I am. All right. So they have drawn out comb. Now that's not great because that means that all right, so I had a gap in between two of the frames, and look what they did. They completely made a complete comb. This does not have foundation. This is not what I put in there. And they just took this and ran with it. So that's not ideal, obviously, because we can't look well, but I'm gonna have to take that off. So what I'm gonna have to do, unfortunately, is I'm gonna have to make sure that the queen's not in here, and I'm going to have to take it off. Have to look for the queen. I'm gonna just take it off. It's warm, that's crazy. So what I'm gonna do, I've seen people do this all the time.
You want me to give them some smoke?
Yeah, that would be good. So that's why it's important, guys, to space your, I just got stung, to space your frames, because they will just build comb there. So I'm going to take this off, I'm going to lay it on top, and I'm going to look for the queen, see if she's there. So, yeah, I don't see a queen there. So,
but do you see evidence of her laying eggs?
Oh, that's a good question. I see honey, and there's a bunch of larvae here. You see those dead?
Mm-hmm.
Top here too. There's lots of honey in here too. It's not capped, but it's there. Yeah, I'm not seeing her yet. You'll know when you see her. She's really big, and she's surrounded by bees. All right, so zoom in over here. You see the larva right there? There's lots of larvae in there. that's just a beekeeper mistake on my part. I spaced the frames out so they just built another comb basically. So I'm not sure what I should do with it though. That's the thing. So over here, here's pollen. They're storing pollen right here. These are almost capped brood, so they're about to start incubating. These are all honey stores, so these will become capped honey. So that's kind of the life cycle all in one frame, which is pretty cool. But again, I'm looking for the queen. So I know she's been here because she's lit a cluster of brood right there. But I'm looking for her. I'm thinking she's probably in, I don't want to squish them, but it's light, so they won't be squished. So I'm looking for a cluster. That's where the queen will be. Oh, maybe here. Nope, no queen there. See, here's some capped brood. So this is brood that is completely ready to incubate. They're incubating into full workers, so that's kind of crazy. It's cool, it's a good thing. Alright, so I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit more about what happened to me with the whole gap in the frames. They built a comb out, and so that happens sometimes when you either leave a frame out or don't space them correctly. They'll just build wherever they want because they're bees, right? They're wild. So what I did here was not what I should have done. So basically, the reason that's not okay what I did is all that comb, the bees worked really hard to make, and they laid eggs in there. Well, the queen laid eggs in there, and there was brood in there, there was honey in there, there was pollen in there, there was all valuable things in there, right? So you shouldn't just throw it away like I did. So that was actually a mistake on my part. I should not have done that. So in hindsight, now that I know, what you guys should do if this happens to you is you should take a foundationless frame, which I'll show a picture of right now, and that's what it looks like. And so I saw this video, and I'll actually leave that video in the description for you guys to watch. I'm not going to leave the whole guide in here, but go watch that video if this happens to you. This is the proper way to do it, and this is the way that it'll save all that hard work the bees did. Basically, you take a foundationless frame, you break that honeycomb up into small pieces, you lay it in the frame with rubber bands around it, and then the amazing thing that the bees do is they tie together all the gaps with wax, with comb, right? And then what they do eventually is once they've built it out, they chew off the rubber bands and they drag the rubber bands out of the hive, right? So in hindsight, that's definitely what I should have done, but instead I just threw it away, which is not a good idea. Leaving a frame out or leaving a gap, it's not a big deal. It happens to literally everybody, and it happens all the time. But if this happens to you, don't do what I did. Definitely save that hard work that the bees have done and save it on a foundationless frame for them to work on. So, lesson learned, I won't be doing what I did in the future. I'll definitely be doing that. Again, I'll leave the video in the description so you guys can watch the proper way to do it. Yeah. I'm looking for the queen. Again, not seeing her. So, with that being said, I know the queen's not on here, so I can actually take this piece. Again, make sure there's no queen, and you can lay it to the side. And the queen, the bees want to follow the queen, so if you see her, make sure she's in the hive, and as long as she's in the hive, the workers will follow, right? So before I put this, I want to make sure that she's not on there. Put that right there, gently on the ground. There's lots of honey. I can smell the honey, which is kind of insane. So that's what they've been working on. I'm going to check on this cover again. Let me know. I'll let you know if I see her so you guys can see. Yep, no queen here. You're going to see a cluster caring for her around her. So I'm assuming she's in one of these frames, which is good, because I want her to be on one of the frames. So that, because I can deal with the frames, right? I can't really deal with this. It's not very easy. So I'm gonna take this end frame, and that's what this hive tool is useful for. There's another use for it. Take one of these, just like that. Be careful of the bees. You shouldn't squish too many. It's usually not a problem. Stick this inner cover right there. I'm going to take out this farthest frame. Now, the way the bees work is they work from the middle, so there's not much bees on here. This is new comb, pollen, honey. I'm not expecting to see the queen here because it's barely drawn out comb and there's no eggs. I'll tell you if I see any eggs, those are cool to see. But it is warm. Like, if you feel this frame, it is warm. They are producing warmth in there. So, I'm going to put this back in. You want to put the frames back in the orientation they came out. So I grabbed my hive tool, I use it to separate them, like that. Looking for the queen once again. Honey, lots of honey, pollen, no queen here on this side. Oh, maybe on this side. This is a big, oh, there she is. You see her? There she is. She's much bigger, you see that? Isn't that awesome? She's right there. You see that? She's huge, look at her. So I'm assuming there's lots of eggs, but I'm gonna put that right back because I don't want to lose her. I want to make sure she's in the hive. So I found her. I'm going to leave her here. And I know they're doing great, so I'm just going to make sure I space these evenly. I'm very glad I found her. That's a good thing. She looks very good. She's very large. Now I'm just moving the frame so that there's not too much space in between two, so that they won't do that again. We don't want that again. So I'm just spacing out the frames evenly. That's important because you don't want that to happen. Because as you can see, it's pretty hard to handle if you've got that. Look at this. This is honey. You see that? That's awesome. So they're producing honey. The queen's right in this frame right here, the second one. They're drying out comb. They've still got frames on the ends. So here in a week, I'll probably add the second box. Because they are running out of space. They're booming. They're doing really well. Here on spring, you don't want to squish bees, but you do want to space. You do want to space them evenly. All right, so they are evenly spaced. They're not gonna build comb in between because there's not enough space, and that is your goal. You want all the frames to be even. Oh, I see some capped off honey at the end here, which is very good. That's a good sign. I'm gonna break off that. You want to break off any burr comb. That's what this is called, because you don't want them really building too much. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna finish scraping this off too. And then I'm going to put the lid on because I saw the queen. She's doing great. So I'm just going to... Remember, you want to slide. You want to slide them on so that they get knocked off instead of being squished. You want to minimize your squish. Here. You want to minimize the amount that you squish. Line it up all the way. Push them off the end. And then you want to put your lid back on, square. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna leave my tool out because it's got honey on it. I'm just gonna leave it right here. They'll lick all that honey off. All right, I think we're good. Found the queen. All right, guys. So we are done.